I am already having a really rough day. So hopefully I can get through this video and not lose my fucking mind. All right. But if you don't know me, hi, good morning, or good whatever time it is, wherever you are. My name is Lay. It's Lae. And this is my official resignation from my position of eldest daughter. So before I get into the meat and the potatoes, I am drawing. I have my iPad. BK! I'm doing a reference study right now. So I'm going to be looking down and up and around. So honestly, this is going to be more of a put your headphone in and just listen if you want to kind of video. And also, this is definitely going to be more of a venting video. I'm not sure this is going to end on a positive note. I cannot guarantee you that. So uh, do with that what you will. Okay. But yes, I am officially resigning from my position as eldest daughter. And I've felt this way for a really long time. And I've had it in my brain for a really long time. And then from my brain, it kind of moved into my heart. And then that's when I started doing the whole, okay, I need to heal over it. I need to do my, my healing, my journaling, my reflection, all of that stuff. Find a new perspective on things that I've experienced in my life that I feel are fucking with me, right? So I went through all of that, and coming out of it, I found that I didn't feel anything else besides angrier, really, Like when you step back and you look at the long list, this long timeline connecting web of how this person hurt that person, and because of that, and this thing that happened is the reason why this person was raised that way, and then this person, that's why they raised their kids that way, and that's why you ended up getting like, I just like to spare myself from any more mental anguish of like just looking at the full scope of why it really fucking sucks, and just being able to do nothing but shake your head and just be disappointed, honestly. So I really can't speak for anyone who isn't in this perspective, like in this position, you know. So it's hard sometimes to talk about something like this because you want to feel like you're understood, but then if you're talking to someone who is not the eldest daughter of their family, then you kind of feel like you're just shouting into the void, or this person's just going to be like, wow, that really sucks, like, I'm sorry that you're going through that, but they might not understand. Well, they don't understand, the magnitude and the intensity and how it's impacting you and affecting you. Now, why does this even matter to me? Like, why is it bothering me so much that I like need to talk about it? And me journaling about it wasn't even enough. Like, me trying to heal from it in private wasn't enough. Deep down inside, I am not a mean person. And I stand by that. I'm not mean. I think I can be direct. I can definitely be heavily opinionated, and my delivery can use some work. With that being said, I have never identified as a mean person. I don't get off on being mean to people. And I actually will interact with someone and feel like I was being mean, and then feel really bad about it, and then usually apologize for it. Like, that's just the type of person that I am. I'm not going to be mean unless I really feel like I need to defend myself from someone or something, But over the last few years, I've become outwardly a very mean person, at least from my perspective. I'm not carrying myself and interacting with people in the ways that I would want to. And it's hard to explain to them why, because I feel bad, I go into attempting to explain why I might be coming off as kind of bitchy. But because I feel like they don't understand, I'm watering it down and finding layman terms to like be like, oh, I'm just going through shit, or oh, life is lifing. But in reality, like, this is a thing that is eating me alive, and if I don't talk about it, it is gonna eat me alive. And unfortunately for me, I'm old enough to go to prison, you know? So I'm in that space in my life of like, I really have to remember that I'm not 12 anymore. You know, like I'm not 15 anymore. I can't just like while out on somebody and expect everything to, expect there to not be any series of events that follow after that, right? So I'm like, all right, I need to emotionally contain myself and keep myself tempered because I don't want to find myself in a situation where something upsets me, it triggers me, it rubs me the wrong way, and I respond to it in a completely disproportionate manner, and it has nothing to do with that situation. I'm like using that instance as like, what's the word for it, like my release valve, like to release the pressure, but really that's not my problem. And then now someone has unintentionally become my victim, like I've hurt this person, or I've like wilded out and just did too much and made a fool of myself and gotten to a version of myself that I really don't want to get into. Like, if you get me, you get me. But this shit is insane. Like, I didn't grow up wanting a sibling. And this is not a secret. Like, this is when my mom came to me and said she was pregnant. I remember telling her that I didn't want to be a big sister. That was the only thing I said to her, actually. And I remember how I felt the first day that she brought my brother home. And like, of course, I would never hurt my brother. I love him. Okay. Like, luckily for me, he's a pretty cool person. But also, that doesn't erase all of the other shit that I've had to endure that has really nothing to do with him, right? Like, it's just the fact that I happen to be my mother's firstborn child and I happen to be a girl. And then she had another kid after. My fucking phone is about to die and my storage is almost full, so I'm gonna have to finish this quickly. But I don't even remember what I left off on, what point was last. But the whole point is, let me just bring this full circle and like speed run it. The reason why this is bothering me is because really one of the only things that I care about, like my top priority, is my career. And my career is my direct connection to God. And even if my career didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, I do believe that in my pursuit of that career and like the way that I handle myself personally on the back end when it comes to how I make my art and the standards that I hold myself to, that's my connection to God, And I guess like my career is just like the tortilla chip, but really it's my interaction and my act of creating and the way that I choose to create. That's the salsa, that's the guacamole. Okay, so it matters to me, like this whole thing about being the eldest daughter and all of the infinite list of responsibilities that I didn't consent to, I didn't get to consent to, and these things have just stacked upon each other and affected my life and affected me. That's manifested through my personality. Like, I'm trying to contain myself and like keep it cute and keep it kosher with people, but deep down I'm at my fucking limit. And it's just because I don't want, like, I understand that people are always going to have expectations for women, and there's always going to be standards. There's always going to be things that people believe should be true because you're a woman and whatever. But it's more so just as I approach my 30s, I start to realize how much of my life hasn't felt like my life, which has essentially been all of it. Like, I don't really have any positive, like, happy childhood memories. I don't have many memories really of like being a child and feeling childlike. It's just always been like responsibility, being aware of this, hyper aware of that. I have to make like the money, the bills. I'm worried about shit that kids should never be worried about. And it's sure, like it made me stronger in certain ways, but it also definitely made me weaker in the ways that mattered the most, which is like my ability to connect with myself, connect with other people, how I interact with people, how I interact with the world, my expectations for just anything really. Like, it sucks to step back and be like, wow, I am actually, well, Thankfully, I've come past that point where I don't feel like I'm just a pessimist and I think the world is evil and I think every time you leave your house something terrible is gonna happen. But I was there at one point, you know, and it was just, and I think that's like the connect, that's what inspires people to grow up and do what with their lives what they feel other people want them to do. Maybe I'm not wording that as well as I want, but you know, like that's what leads people to. You see people who are in their like 60s and 70s, and sure, you've lived a long time, but your quality of life is in the garbage. Like it's quite low. It's like alarmingly low, you know? And I have no intention of living the rest of my life through the lens of thank God that I can just survive another day. While that is a blessing, and I understand that right now in real time there is someone in the world who doesn't know if they're even going to survive the next hour or so, we're all humans. I can't solve the world's problems overnight. If I could, everything would have been fixed by now, right? So like, I understand that, and like two things can be true at once. Like someone can be going through something that's relatively a lot worse than what you might be going through, but that doesn't mean that what you're experiencing isn't existing, and you know, it doesn't have an impact and it doesn't matter. I think that's crazy. So with my art and my career, I really intend to have a nice balance between public and private. Like I still want to engage with people and connect to people, especially when it comes to like people that embrace my art and they really are like, I love this piece. Even people who are like, I hate this piece. I would love to talk to those people. I would love to talk to people who see a painting or a drawing that I do and they go, oh, I actually don't like it. Like, I don't care. You know, like it's whatever. Like God likes it. Like whatever. So I want to be more socially available, I guess is what I'm getting at. And when you're the eldest daughter, you aren't available for anything really besides the responsibilities and the obligations that other people have put on you, and just like out of this expectation. So I'm not really fucking with that, and I haven't been fucking with that for a while, and I've just been keeping it cute, honestly, but I'm at my limit, and it's, I don't know how much cuter it can get, you know? And like that makes me sad because I don't want my art career and the way people perceive me, even though I know I can't control people's perceptions, I can still have an intention for my own perception and how I present myself. And I don't want people to like mark me as someone who's hard to approach or hard to talk to. I don't know what just fell. You know, I don't want to put myself in that kind of light, especially when deep down I don't believe I'm that type of person. I think I'm actually fairly personable. I'm not the most socially adept, but I'm also not the most socially deficient. So it's like, yeah, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm trying to build this career and open up myself to the world in the way that I've agreed with God to do. And then I'm just struggling through the whole fucking process, bro. Like all of it is just like really hard. It's like pulling teeth because I actually never, honestly, my iPhone storage it keeps getting full, and I just feel like this was a video that I didn't want to make, and I didn't want to like talk about this shit because it's just bad vibes, like bad juju type shit, you know. But I do want to talk about it, but I just kept getting the urge to make this video and just vent. I'm really not a venter. Like I vent, I'm human, but I do my best to refrain from venting about things that I can't actually do anything to change or create any type of movement in. You know, like I don't want to just be complaining about shit. And this feels like one of those things that I'm kind of just complaining about because there's nothing that I can do about it. The damage has been done. I'm already the oldest. Like, what can we do now, right? So, like, even when I die, I will still be the oldest. So it's like, all right, why am I talking about this? But whatever, man. I don't know. Maybe someone else feels similarly and it's not just like a me problem, because I don't think it is. But because of my environment and where I live in the South, and people are very family oriented, you know, nice, nasty, Southern respect kind of thing. And the idea of being like, I don't appreciate the way my family treats me or like the way they raise, like, I don't appreciate that, is like a huge no-no in, you know, in most circles in the South, at least where I am. So like, you know, I was like, I don't know if people really feel this way. Maybe it is just me. Maybe I'm just being a huge bitch. I don't know, bro. But I don't really care about all that. Like, I just want to give myself the opportunity to be perceived accurately, for fuck's sake. Okay, because I don't think I'm the worst person on the planet. I'm actually pretty decent. And also, I love making art. I love when my art is able to create change and impact someone even a little bit. I think it's such a magical and interesting experience, because art really isn't tangible, but the way it impacts people, really, it can manifest into something tangible. Anyways, I'm getting kind of esoteric right now, but like, that's the shit that I care about, bro. And like, I feel I've been struggling socially in my personal. A really funny video because I'm now recording on my iPad because my iPhone is full. By the way, like, my iCloud has been full for years. I have a huge folder of my iPad's sliding. I have a huge folder of reference studies. So like, I know, like, my iCloud's full, but despite the editing of this video maybe being kind of choppy and chaotic, I hope that my sentiment it still lands. I just don't want to feel like I'm putting all of my energy, you know, every day we have a set amount of energy, and I'm putting that energy directly into other responsibilities and other things that other people have essentially consented me into. Like, they consented on my behalf before I was even old enough to understand what was even happening. So, and I think that's crazy. I don't really care about it being unfair, but it's crazy, and I'm not fucking with it. Right? like I'm just like, whatever. Like, that's not my thing. So yeah, I can't work both jobs, you know. I can't be the eldest daughter and also be lay. It just doesn't work that way. Like, I don't have enough energy to do both of them. And so I'm retiring from being the eldest daughter. Any responsibility that I have been responsible for as long as I can remember, that was put on me at an age when I was too young to be able to consent. If I couldn't consent myself, that responsibility is like no longer mine. I am relinquishing it. I'm literally, the contracts are dissolving into the ether right now. I can see them. Like, they're no good, bro. They're null and void. That's a bad contract. Like, and I'm not too excited or happy at the idea of like my family signing me like energetically into bad contracts where it's like, yeah, just because I was born first doesn't mean that all of these things now become my responsibility. Like, that's not fair, you know? And so I know I just said I don't care, it's not fair, but like, it's not fair. But like, this is, I guess, you know, if fairness ain't really a real thing anyways, so, but I feel like I'm approaching 30, and every day that goes by and I'm closer to 30, I'm like, yeah, I need to have a moment where, from that moment on, like in the future, I want to be able to think back to a moment where everything past that point was me feeling like my life truly belonged to me, and the responsibilities that I took on were ones that I decided I was capable of managing after doing the risk management. Okay, like, after looking at the situation and saying, is this something that I want to sign myself up for? Like, that's the spirit of free will, bro. And I don't think anyone should have free will taken away from them. And this is a topic for another day, but children are the most unprotected class. Like, they're not supposed to be able to use free will and just do whatever. But I do think that, like, there's a lot to be said. I have a lot of opinions. I'm a very opinionated individual, and I'm not fucking with it, bro. I see things all the time, and I'm like, why do we do that way? Like, that's such a bad idea. You know, whatever. I keep asking you if you know. I know, okay? I know it's a bad idea. And I think it's a bad idea to put all this pressure on your daughter and expect her and, like, be like, oh, I want you to be better than me. But, like, putting them through that when you don't fully understand the scope of what it even means to be a stable, regulated human at, like, the most basic level, you know? And I've met enough people, like, we were just born to struggling humans who were born to struggling humans who were born to struggling humans. And I know there's a lot of systems and there's a lot of history. There's so much information and details. I really probably could put together a big, like, web diagram and connect everything. But, like, I'm gonna spare you from that right now. You know, like, it's not that deep if you don't want it to be. It really is simple. And it's that someone has to decide to not want to struggle. And that doesn't mean just with money. Like, overall, in general, I don't want to struggle in my social interactions. I don't want to struggle in sharing my art. You know, I don't want to struggle in making myself available to and a part of the world and society. You know, I don't want to have this thought in my mind that, like, okay, once I'm done with all of these responsibilities, then whatever energy I have left, I can use for, like, a responsibility or something, a desire that matters to me a lot more. And then I get to that point and I have this much fucking juice left in the battery, and I'm like, why does it feel like pulling teeth for me to be pursuing the thing that I want to be pursuing, for me to be doing the shit that I said I wanted to do? And I just didn't want to write this off as like a it's not me thing, it's not me problem. I wanted to really give this some thought and some reflection, and it's not me. And honestly, it's probably not you. So I said I wasn't sure if I could end this video on a positive note. That's maybe not positive, but I feel pretty neutral. You know, if there's nothing else that you can take from this, you're not the only one going through what you're going through. If you are the eldest daughter, I can assure you, especially if you are a Black woman, for sure, like, it's not just you going through shit and making stuff up and, like, being stressed out and tired and lazy and not wanting to, you know, you can't motivate yourself, and fuck all of that shit, bro. Like, for real. Like, unless you came from a more than decently healthy family, it's not you. Like, you, like, not to say, like, okay, as an adult now, if you're old enough to go to prison, you're old enough to make better decisions, and that also includes healing your shit and your trauma and all that stuff. However, if you're in the boat with me and you're like, bitch, I can't journal about this no more, like, I can't talk about this no more to myself, to God, I can't pray about this no more, like, then it's probably not you. Like, and I feel like it would have been nice for someone to tell me that a long time ago. Like, it's not me. Like, despite how it feels, and, like, despite the maximum amount of effort being applied to, like, create this illusion and continue to convince you that you are the problem, I'm telling you right now, you're not. So I hope you can find some consolation in that, even just a little bit, just enough to get you through today. With that being said, the editing of this is gonna be really fun because I did actually record this video before, but I plugged in my microphone adapter, but I didn't turn the microphone on, so the sound was no good. Totally bad. It was just me, like, talking into the void, which is fine. I guess I needed to get the uglier parts of this sentiment off my chest. But it'll be fun. Like, yes, some of the clips are from my iPhone. Yes, some of them are from my iPad. I feel like a past version of me would have been like, like, I'm having so many like hurdles and obstacles. I'm just gonna not record this video and not post it because it's really vulnerable anyways. I don't care. Like, whatever, bro. Like, I'm also definitely practicing radical trust with God. So if God is like, post a video, it's gonna be fine. And then I start having these issues and not enough storage on my phone, and I just recorded the video once, and I felt like I did pretty good talking about the things I wanted to talk about, but the audio was bad. Like, I just had a little hiccup, and I didn't turn on the microphone, like, which is something that I would almost never do. So, like, whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna just stick this one through. So hopefully this has some type of value, even if it's like the tiniest little grain of salt, And with that being said, if you stuck around for this long, I appreciate you. Thank you for just hearing me out for a moment and giving me the space to just kind of like click my teeth together. And if you do share any of these sentiments, I apologize because that fucking sucks. I don't feel bad for you because you don't need me to feel bad for you. I'm just saying. Number 2, do I have anything else to say? I'm like, suddenly I have no words. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you share the sentiments, that sucks. I'm sorry, but also, you're not the problem. It's not you, and I'm really encouraging you to not allow yourself to be bamboozled and gaslit into believing that it is you. Like, again, nobody's perfect. I'm sure you have traits that aren't the nicest. Like, I definitely can have on the right day, I can definitely be pretty nasty, but that's not my everyday, and I'm almost certain that that's not your everyday. So unless you're just walking around just being a huge bitch all day long, every day to everybody, don't buy that shit, bro. Like, you're not the problem. The way you feel and the shit that's stressing you out and the way you're feeling, like, your energy is just like, you never have enough juice in the battery to do what it is you want to do. That's some real shit. And if no one else is validating that for you, here I am. So, like, I don't know, wherever you're putting energy as the eldest daughter, like, you need to review your contracts, girl, because the contracts are bad. All of them. Just shred them all. And yeah, I love you. Everything's gonna work out beautifully because that's all God knows. Like, literally all God knows is love and beauty. And I know people might want to say, oh, what about the terrible things that happen in the world? That's also a reflection. That's like an iteration of beauty. But I'm going to save that for a nice long lecture. But everything's going to work out beautifully. You're going to be fine. Actually, you're going to be better than mine. You're going to be phenomenal. Everything's going to be fucking fantastic. And you're going to look back, and there's going to be a moment for you, too, where you go, wow, everything past that moment was me actually having complete autonomy over myself and my life. And that's some good shit. Like, that is how you achieve wealth in every other aspect. Like, every other sector of life, it comes from that, in my opinion. Like, if you don't have that feeling of abundance and prosperity internally within yourself and your decisions, you don't get to hold free will and also hold responsibility evenly. Like, I don't think you can really build wealth in anything else in your life. It's like pouring water into a pot with holes in it. And you don't deserve that. You're better than that. And that's just the truth. So, like I said, I love you. Have a great day. Drink hella water. Also, take a lunch break. If you be trying to work past your lunch break, definitely make sure you stop and eat today. Housekeeping stuff, Etsy is where I have paid printable coloring sheets right now. They're really cute. I'm really excited for this next batch that I'm going to be releasing. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that in the coming, like, the next 5 business days or so. I'll be able to get to that. And I have paid ones on Etsy, free ones on Gumroad. The only difference is that the ones on Gumroad didn't meet my personal expectations, but I didn't want to like throw them off into the nothingness, so they're still made available to you in totally downloadable, same quality, same process, all of that shit. I wasn't totally satisfied with them. And I think that's everything for right now. I am going through my storage and I'm selling stuff. Anything that I really don't need, I'm selling. So I will be uploading stuff to my Mercari. I had some luck with Facebook Marketplace, but I'm going to switch over to Mercari now for the rest of the stuff. And so maybe I guess I'll drop a link for that too, for anyone who wants to buy like shoes. I have a few purses. It's mostly clothes, so that kind of stuff. And I think that's genuinely it. I'm going to be opening my commissions soon. So I am going to be doing portraits again. I took a nice break from them and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back to the idea, but I just think the idea was too big for my brain at the time and I wasn't able to understand what God was explaining to me. So I understand now. So I'm going to be opening the commissions soon. I really think that's it. I'm just like having frazzled brain right now. So if you genuinely made it this far, I appreciate it. This is not my best display of speaking or like public interaction at all. Okay. So I love you. Thank you for giving me grace. And I'll see you next time.